Hi, this is Michael Spokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. As I've said, this week we are embarking on leadership. But today I want to speak about the principles of God that many leaders overlook. Principles of God that many leaders overlook. And this is very important that we hearken as leaders to the principles of God and make sure that every principle of God, we don't overlook it. Because when you start to overlook the principles of God as a leader, you are losing out in becoming a great leader. Now, many great leaders have started well, but as time goes on, they start disregarding the principles of God, and they fall flat on their face and they become nobodies in life because they've disregarded and they've overlooked what we call the principles of God. And there are some of the principles that you cannot survive if you overlook. And that's very key that we mention those so that you can learn that you cannot actually survive by overlooking those principles. And now the first principle that I want to speak about, that is a principle of God that you cannot actually avoid, that you cannot afford actually overlooking, is the principle of gradual growth in life. The principle of gradual growth in life. Many leaders are overlooking this. And maybe it's because of over ambition. Maybe it's also because of competition and you're competing with others, then you want to climb the ladder quickly and become over others. Maybe it's because of the spirit of jealousy, that you're jealousing against others and you want to become the man, the woman, the better leader of them all of the day. Or maybe it's because of pride, that you're puffed up and you feel like you're better than everybody else. But all these aspects, they're actually undermining the principle of gradual growth. Listen to this. As a leader, you must be aware that you cannot actually rush up to the top without going through the milestones of leadership. You must go through the milestones of growth. Because as an individual, remember, you are growing gradually. And that is why God has actually made anything in this world to start small and develop gradually into a big thing. And that is why a human being doesn't come as an adult on earth, but is born a baby. And a baby, when you look at a baby, is a small human being that is having everything that an adult is having, but except that all these things on this little human being are underdeveloped. So you need time to gradually grow in order for that baby to grow into an adult. And that's the process. And that's the principle that God is using. But many people are undermining that. And they overlook that principle. They want to develop today. They want to find themselves at the pinnacle today. They want to find themselves on top of the mountain today, above everything, knowing everything today, and becoming great leaders today, very popular and very famous today in one go. And I want to tell you that's not possible in this life. So you need to walk the path gradually and grow gradually. And please be patient with your growth as well. As you grow, please be patient. Take every step one at a time and grow one at a time. And as you do that, you become a gradual grower and you become a person that develops your leadership gradually. And don't be impatient with the process. Please go through the process. And that's very, very important. But many leaders are overlooking this principle. The other principle that people often overlook and leaders often overlook is what we call the principle of going down first in order to go up. And this is the principle of humility. That if you want to be elevated, therefore, be able to humble yourself, be able to go down, be able to be trembled upon by people, be able to be disrespected at some stage, be able to be dishonored at some stage. Because when you are there, you're actually developing and shaping yourself to become a better person. And as you go down, you are going to be elevated. And that is why when you are humbling yourself, God will lift you up. And that's the principle. And I want to emphasize that the people that are proud and puffed up, They are not honored by anybody, and therefore they will not be elevated. And that is why if you elevate yourself, you are going to lose out on the point that you need to gradually grow and be elevated. Because people elevate people that are humble. And you cannot actually be honored or be elevated. You cannot go up except if you come to a point where you are down first. Remember that you cannot be up if you're up, and you cannot go up if you're up. So you can only go up when you are down, and that's the reason why this becomes a very valuable principle as well, that please allow yourself to be down to earth, be humble enough, respect others, and honor people as well. As you do so, the Lord will elevate you and take you up. And that's very, very important principle for you to hearken on. The principle of planting first that which you would like to reap, a very great principle that we call a principle of sowing and reaping. And this type of a principle is happening in every single thing. And I want you as a leader to realize that the principle of sowing and reaping is not only happening in seeds that you sow and reap. And as much as when you want to reap apples, you sow apples. As much as when you want to reap millies, then you will sow millies. And that's the principle. It shows that even in behavior, even in actions, whatever action that you take, you are sowing. And whatever you're sowing, you're going to reap that. For an example, if you hate people, you cannot expect people to love you. You cannot expect love out of planting or sowing hatred. When you actually hate people and you treat people badly, you're not going to be expecting to be treated with kid loves and to be loved and cared for if you don't care for people and you don't actually associate with people and love them. There are people that hate and then expect love. There are people that unforgive and they expect to be forgiven. And that doesn't go that way, because whatever you sow is what you will reap. So therefore, guard against your behavior. Guard against how you deal with people. Guard against how you speak to people. Because as an individual, how you speak to people determines how people speak to you as well. How you treat people determines how people treat you back. Because people will treat you exactly the way you would love, the way you are treating them. So therefore, I want to emphasize that because of the sowing and reaping principle, so therefore, do unto others that which you want them to do unto you. And that's very key, because you are sowing that seed and expect the returns that are the same in your life as well. Very, very important sowing and reaping principle. Another principle is the principle of hard work and commitment first before you are harvesting the results of your labor. Now, nothing comes from mahala in life. Nothing will happen to you until you put your hands in it. Nothing will happen to you in life until you put a sweat on it. And that's very important, because this is a principle that you have to work hard for something to get it back. For you to get the result of your hard labor, you must work hard first, because things are not just going to come easy. And there are many people that think that things will just come easy in their life. They will receive things without working for them, and they will get money without working for it. And that is wrong in life if your approach of life is that way. Now, I want to urge you as a prospective leader and as a leader as well, that you must believe in the ethics of hard work, because ethics of hard work will show you that when you work hard for something, it will actually bear the results of your labor. And that is why great leaders will tell you that they are working very hard. And some don't, they spend lesser time of sleeping. They spend less time resting, and therefore they are busy at all times, because they are sowing actually the sweat of their labor in exchange to the results or the fruits of their labor. And that's very, very important that we regard this as a principle. The spirit of hard work, the spirit of commitment, that's the only way you're going to see the results of your labor, when you work hard and you commit to what you're doing. The principle of night first before the day break in life, that's the principle. And I want you to look at it, that even in the book of Genesis in the Bible, you'll realize that when God created the day and the night, he started with the night. God declared night first before he declared a day, because a night is actually a preempt of a day. And night is a precursor of a day. So when there's no night, then there's no day. And what does this mean as a principle? It means that when you are in the dark times of your life, when you are at the lowest ebb, you've lost everything, you've got nothing in your life, you must actually be anticipating greater things coming. You must anticipate a day break after your night. So when things are not working out in your life, it's a precursor that things are about to work out. And this is the reason why you must never give up. This is the reason why you must never think that things will forever remain the same. And night doesn't last forever, but it will soon become a daybreak. Now, I want to urge you to take this as a principle, that whatever you're going through, it is for a season. And a season doesn't remain permanent. So seasons are changing. When it is winter, we know that spring is coming. When it is spring, we know that summer will definitely come after the spring, but also summer will preempt the autumn. And this is how seasons change one after another. And the same like a night gives way to a day, is the same that problems give way to good time in your life. And I want to emphasize this because it's very important. And many people give up just at the verge of them seeing their breakthrough. And I want to urge you now, as a person, that please understand that it is a principle that the night will come first before the day. So therefore, problems will come before your breakthrough. And that's exactly that in life. So therefore, be patient with what you're going through. Be patient also with the situations that you're facing right now as I speak to you. This is a principle, and please hearken to that principle. The other principle is the principle of multiplication, that God will multiply what you have started already. Or God will multiply what you have already. God will multiply what is in your hand already. Now, this is very important principle as well, that you cannot expect multiplication of something that you do not have. So in other words, if you want God to multiply something in your life, it must be something that you have as a seed in your hand. Because God multiplies only what you have. And that is why the Bible in the book of Matthew and the book of Luke, actually, the book of Luke 6, verse 38, it speaks about you must give and it shall be given, shall men be give unto you a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So that scripture is a very truthful reflection of what we're speaking about. That this is a principle of multiplication. So in other words, you must have something to give first in order to be given back to you. So it will only be multiplied when you've got something at hand. So find a seed in your hand, even money. You cannot actually have a multiplication of money in your life until you have money in your hand and give it. So have money, give it as a seed, and it will therefore multiply. So have money, let it be in your hand, and let it be multiplied in your hand, because God multiplies only that which you have, and that is the only way you're going to see something in your hands. And that is why when you want God to multiply the seeds that you have, like a mealy corns that you have, you're going to have them in your hand, you're going to plant them in the ground, and you'll find that when they produce in multifold, because it will always be multiplied, that which you have in your hand. And that's a key principle that many people overlook, but they're very, very important. It's very, very important principle, that whatever you've started, God multiplies that. If you start nothing, you must expect nothing from God as well. Very key. So please start something in your life. The other principle is the principle of participation in your own miracle. And I want to speak about this because there are many people that have been duped into miracles, the so-called miracles, but magic, whereby they don't know that you need to participate in your own miracle. So therefore they believe in anything that people are doing, and people are playing with their minds. So any miracle that God gives you, there's a principle that you must participate in it. And if it's a miracle that you cannot participate in it, you must know that it's not a miracle of God. So please be careful of that and participate in every miracle that comes your way. The principle of respect of individual will of man by God. So this is very important, that God respects your will, God respects your choices as well, and that becomes a principle. And you must know that God will forever respect your will and your choice. God will never actually force you anything in your life. God will not force you to do anything, and that's the principle of God. So know that at all times and never overlook that. Finally, the principle of dominion over your domain, meaning that God has given you a power to dominate your own allocated domain. And many people overlook this. People want to control others and control other people's spaces, other people's places as well. You want to control everywhere. And that's a wrong principle that you're doing. A principle is that according to God, there's a domain that is your own. And you are actually given rulership in your own domain. I'm given a rulership in my own domain, in my own family, and that God has given me. I've got a right to rule or to manage in that particular place. So therefore, it is my own domain. So therefore, that is a principle of God, that your own domain, you're able to control it, you're able to manage it, but don't manage or control other people's domains. And as a principle, that would be wrong for you to do so. Manage your own domain and control your own domain that God has given you. I want to end up here today. Your host, Mike Spogani. Thank you very much for listening to us and being part of this topic again. And I hope you've learned quite a bit as we dealt with different aspects of leadership this week. And I believe so much that you've learned out of this. Now, I want you to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you click the notification button as well, that you are notified of any video that we put up on this platform. And may the good Lord bless you. And allow me to say cheers for now.